Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Coaching Corner with me, Jamila, aka the IEP Coach. Oh, guys, I love Tuesdays. We get to come on to the Coaching Corner where we talk about all things special education. So, welcome, everybody. As you are coming in, as you're tuning into this live, please make sure you drop in the comments where you are tuning in from. Please let me know where you are tuning in from, and please don't forget to share out this live. Now, tonight we will be discussing solving the Sped teacher crisis in 2025. We're going to be talking about all those different aspects that contribute to this crisis with our special education teachers. So make sure you share out this live, and again, drop in the comments where you are tuning in from. And before I go any further, I am Jamila, aka the IEP Coach. I'm the founder and CEO of the IEP Coach LLC. We are an education consulting company, and we specialize in providing professional development and coaching centered around special education to special education teams, teachers, and paraprofessionals, so that way they can thrive and not just survive in their roles. Okay, so we do a lot of professional development, we do a lot of coaching, and it's all centered around special education, so that way, as we support our SPED teachers, schools can stay out of litigation due to IEP non-compliance, and also just so they are firm in their practice, and that will trickle down to the students, and that helps to increase the student success. Okay, and we also support parents with advocacy, making sure they understand the IEP process and the special education process as well. Okay, so that is just a little bit about us at the IEP Coach. And please share out this live. We are talking about solving the SPED teacher crisis in 2025. So you don't want to miss this. So definitely share out this live. I hope everybody is keeping warm because it is cold. It snowed up here in Philly over the weekend, just a little bit, not heavy, but I believe, down south it's getting cold where you guys are. And some of you have gotten some snow as well. So I hope you all are staying warm. And if you don't have to go outside, you're not traveling outside. All right. And after we go over our topic, we always have time for Q&A. We always leave time for Q&A. So let me go ahead and share out this live. And as I'm telling you to share it out, I'm sharing it out as well. Let me share this out, share it out. And I only went out to go to the gym today, and I came right back in the house. Yeah, so I'm not a huge fan of the cold. I like the fall and the spring. Those are my seasons. All right, so let's share out the live. And as your questions come to you, feel free to drop them in the comments, so that way when we get to the Q&A part, we'll see your question and we can answer your question, so you don't got to wait until later to do the question. All right. Let's share out the live. Here we go. Wait, hold up. And just so you know, we are streaming live on all of our platforms. We're streaming live on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram, if I didn't already say Instagram. Okay, let me share this. Hold on. Tune in now. Topic: SPED teacher crisis. All right. So before we get started, I want to let you guys know that the SPED Educators Rise Group Coaching Program enrollment is open, and enrollment ends next week. We start our second cohort for the 2024-2025 school year. We finished the first cohort. We are starting the second cohort. So if you are interested, we are starting our second cohort, and now the SPED Educators Rise Group Coaching Program is specifically designed for special education teachers. Okay, specifically for special education teachers, because SPED teachers don't get enough training tailored to their needs. And that is where the coaching program came about. It's basically all of the coaching I wish I received when I was a special education teacher. So we cover so many different topics, and you get coaching in so many different topics pertaining to the role of a special education teacher. We of course we talking about IEPs, we're talking about law, special education law, we're talking about transition, we're talking about progress monitoring, we're talking about how you lead IEP meetings, we're talking about transition, we are talking about how do you go about having those conversations with parents that may be difficult. Burnout, how do you handle that? We're going through all that. And you also get free access to myself if you have questions about anything. If you're working on an IEP, you need support, we support you. You getting that direct support from me, the IEP coach. And you also get access to our master IEP course, our ebooks, private community, and some other things you get access to. So it is specifically designed for our special education teachers. So if you are a special education teacher, or you know someone who this program will definitely benefit, you can definitely send them this link. I'm going to drop it in the comments right now. And if you are on Instagram, you can click the link in our bio. I'm going to also just drop it there too, for you to share with someone who is a SPED teacher, or if you are a SPED teacher, I'm sharing out the link there, okay? And you want to enroll now because we start next Thursday, okay? And secondly, we are so excited because we launched our newsletter. Our LinkedIn newsletter is called the IEP Insider. It is basically your strategies, your go-to newsletter for strategies that you can apply in your school. Whether you're an administrator or a teacher, you can apply the strategies and the tips that we give in our newsletter. So we launched it last week. So please click the link in our bio to subscribe. And I'm also going to drop the link for you to subscribe to the IEP Insider. We are so excited. We will be writing a lot more this year. So look forward to more and more articles from the IEP Insider. So, okay. So, all right. So I just want to put that out there before we get started. So again, the Sped Educators Rise Group Coaching Program enrollment is open. So you definitely want to take advantage of that. And we have our IEP Insider. We launched it last week. So make sure you click the link to subscribe to the newsletter. Okay, make sure you click the link to subscribe. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. And again, if you have questions, go ahead and put them in the comments. As we get to the Q&A portion of the live, we will definitely address your questions. Okay, so please, you don't have to wait to the end to ask your questions. You can put your questions in the comments now, so that way we are maximizing time as much as possible. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into content. So for tonight, I wanted to focus on SPED teachers because it is a crisis, solving the SPED teacher crisis in 2025, because it is a huge issue going on in the country. And so I wanted us to talk about various indicators that is the cause of this issue, and then also talk about the supports and how we can solve these issues. Okay, so we're gonna go over just 6 things that SPED teachers are facing, which is causing the crisis. Okay, so the first issue that we have is there's a shortage of special education teachers. There is a shortage. So now this is from the 2023 report by the Learning Policy Institute. 48 states, there are 50 states in the United States. 48 states reported shortages in special education teachers. 48 out of 50 reported a shortage in special education teachers. Okay, now this is a report from 2023. So that is 96% of the country has a shortage in special education teachers. California alone needed over 4,000 special education teachers. California alone. So that shows you right there that there's a crisis. And what's the crisis? retaining SPED teachers is a huge problem. Because special education teachers leave the profession, I want to say twice as fast as a general education teacher. And the reason being, it's the workload and stress. Being a teacher is a high stress role. Being a special education teacher is an even higher stress role, and you're doing multiple, you have like two roles. You are a special education teacher and you are a case manager. So you have to do your lessons, and you have to be a case manager to a caseload of students. Okay, so it's like you already, and if you're not getting the proper support, you're overwhelmed. Even if you are a veteran SPED teacher, you got years in, it doesn't make it easier for you. You still have a high caseload. There's not enough of you at your school. There's a shortage. So you get stretched thin because it's not a lot of you at the school to lean on for support. That is the huge issue. Okay? So it's hard to retain teachers, special education teachers, because due to the workload and the stress of the role. Okay? Now, we may be thinking, well, how do we solve this issue? Okay? How do we solve it? Now, in the state of Pennsylvania, Pennsylvania has a program where they are sending paraprofessionals to school to get their special education certification to be SPED teachers. And they have, and in the program, if they're in the program, they have to teach at a particular school site. I believe it's for at least 3 years. So it's kind of like they're creating a pipeline for special education teachers. That's one solution, creating a pipeline. How can you create a pipeline? Who works directly with SPED teachers? Paraprofessionals do. Instructional assistants do. So Pennsylvania creating this program, that's great. And I hope they're also giving those new teachers the training and the coaching that they require. Okay. Now, in New Jersey, they have mentoring stipends to experienced SPED teachers who support new teachers. And this has led to 30% improvement in retaining their teachers for over 3 years. They've been able to retain their SPED teachers. And you want to know why that is working for New Jersey? Because SPED teachers want support. They want to get support. And when they receive it and they're able to apply that to their practice, they're more likely to stay. When SPED teachers get the support they need, they are more likely to stay in their roles. This is why you have some teachers, first of all, who stay, period, at a particular school, because they may not be getting paid as much as they should, but because they're getting support or they have a supportive team, they are more likely to stay. Okay? So if you can create some mentoring stipends for your veteran SPED teachers to support your new SPED teachers, that can help them because they're more likely to stay when they get the support. And if you can create a program like Pennsylvania is doing, where they're sending their paraprofessionals to school to be SPED teachers, because that makes sense. They're in the state. The SPED teachers and paraprofessionals work closely together. You're creating a pipeline for SPED teachers. Okay. The second factor is the burnout and being overworked. Okay. Special education teachers, again, I told you, their caseload and their teachers. They have their case managers and their teachers. So caseloads are huge. Caseloads are huge. So I'm going to give you an example. So when I was teaching at my last school, I think I had 10 students on my caseload. 10. When I first started teaching, when I first became a SPED teacher, my caseload, the highest my caseload got, I had 24 24 or 25 students on my caseload. Now that was huge back then. That was huge. But now I hear from some SPED teachers who have reached out to us, and then SPED teachers I've just gotten to know as we're working, as we're presenting. Some teachers got 30. One teacher told us he had 40 because they didn't have enough SPED teachers in the building. So the teachers that are there are inheriting the other teachers' caseloads. Okay? A National Education Association survey in 2024 reported that 65% of SPED teachers managed caseloads exceeding the recommended limit of no more than 20. You shouldn't have no more than 20. But if you talk to SPED teachers, they have more than 20. They do. And you have to think about that. How can you really properly manage more than that? And on top of being a teacher. Like, let's be real. How can we really do that? And then a SPED teacher in Chicago shared that they spend 40% of their time on paperwork, leaving little room for classroom engagement. So their caseload is so big, they're focusing so much on making sure that they get the paperwork done. So where's the instruction coming in at? How effective do you think the instruction is if they're constantly thinking about, I have to get this IP done. I have to make sure I have this progress report. I got to make sure I collect this data. I got to make sure I do. What is the quality of what quality instruction are they giving? If the focus is primarily on the paperwork. Okay? Now, here are some possible solutions. Okay, schools can invest in IEP management software. This helps. So like Frontline, I know in my old school, we used Skyward. It gave you reminders when when reevaluations were coming up. Like I remember I would get an email saying, oh, so-and-so's reevaluation is due in 60 days. So-and-so's IEP is due in 60 days. Like I would get emails like that. It was easy to input data. It was easy to create the goals. Sometimes part of the issue is having the proper systems in place at your school. If you have the proper systems in place at your school, it can really help with the case management and the paperwork. It can really help a lot. Okay? So having a good system, IEP management system, is helpful. Now, some of these IEP management systems, they say, oh my God, it's so easy. No, I remember we used Easy IEP in Philly. I was like, it ain't easy. It wasn't. The system was cool, but it's like you had to like keep making a mistake before it actually helped you, gave you the pointer on how to get through it. Now that was some years ago, but I'm quite sure it has improved since then. But also, just if you're gonna use a system, a IEP system at your school, please make sure you get your SPED teachers, the proper training on how to use the system efficiently, because that's the whole point of using the IEP system. Okay. Another thing is to help with the burnout and the overwork is schools that offer mental health days or providing on-site counsel specifically for teachers, reporting higher job satisfaction rates. So schools that implement these mental health days, they have better job satisfaction at their schools. I remember my last school, we had IEP days. We got 3 of them. I wish we had more than that, but we had IEP days. We got 3 of them where, let's say things were really starting to pile up. We could take an IEP day. We still had to report the work, but we had a sub to cover all of our classes, and we could just sit and work on our paperwork. Now that was something a district did. My old district did. I used to take, and I also used to take mental health days just myself. I would take a day or two, and I would do a consecutive day back to back because I needed the mental health break from work. I just did that myself because it's needed. is needed to help you keep going so that you don't get burnt out. Okay. So those are just some tips for that. Okay, a third issue when it comes to the crisis for sped teaching in 2025 is professional development. You guys have heard us talk about this over and over and sharing content about the importance of having professional development specifically for special education teachers and having professional development centered around special education for all teachers. Okay, there are gaps in the training. A lot of schools, they do all this PD in the beginning of the year. You do all these PDs. You know, when you go back to teachers, you know what I'm talking about. When you go back, you got PD after PD after PD. You're like, man, I wish I could be in my classroom setting up, but you're in all these PDs. And then after that, it's like you might get a PD once every 2 months or once a month. But then you've had some staff who have left. You have some new staff that have joined the team. But that new staff that joined the team, they didn't get all the PD you got in the beginning of the year. They didn't get it. And then your school is not doing refreshers of the PD that they already did. So it's like, well, how are you preparing those new teachers that came in? Even if you are a veteran teacher, you're new to this school, you missed this PD or you missed these PDs, right? Now, teachers are more confident in their practices when they get consistent PD, when they're getting the consistent professional development. And there is a need for PD, like inclusion, trauma-informed teaching, progress monitoring is a huge one. It's a huge one because that helps you drive. Progress monitoring helps you make the data-driven decisions you need for your instruction and also for your students' IEPs. Progress monitoring helps you with that. For academics as well as behavior. So how can we fix this problem? How can we fix this for SPED teachers? Hey, schools, you can reach out to us at the IEP Coach. This is what we do. We provide professional development and coaching centered around special education. You can hire consultants like us. Okay? You can provide, I know some districts have certification programs. Some schools will pay for their teachers to get professional development that supports them. Some schools will have, like I said, they provide the funding for their teachers to attend a conference or to attend professional developments. Like, those are options. Those are options. You can hire, you can outsource, and it's okay to outsource. It is okay, because by outsourcing, you are freeing up the people in your building to do those observations that they need to do, as well as hit some other things that they need to do in the building and other duties they need to do with teachers. It's okay to outsource. It is okay. And I know some schools don't want to, they want to handle it in-house, but I'm like, if you don't have the staff in-house, or by utilizing your staff in-house, you're really stretching them thin, outsource consultants that can actually take that load off of you and do that for you. Teachers, go to your administrator and say, listen, I found this PD, I found this conference, can you pay for us to go? They have money in their budgets to send you. Don't be afraid to open up and ask. All right. Another factor is the technology integration. There are so many tools out here that can help SPED teachers. However, you have some people who are resistant to tech, and then you have others who are all for it. Now, whatever tech is going to be implemented in the school, I'm going to beat this over your head. Have the training for that tech. So for example, one particular tech that I used a lot for in my special education classroom, it was Read and Write by Text Help. I love this because it was a software program. It was AI-based tool. And mind you, this is before AI was all AI. but we use it in English because it would read the students writing back to them, and this helped in the editing process of their writing. Also, if you paid for it, if you had a paid subscription, like it would read it as the student was typing. They could use it when they were doing their research for projects, like it would read the screen that they were looking at their, like if they were researching an article, a topic, and they found an article, read and write, when you installed it on your computer, it would read the article to the student. So it was a great use of tech in my classroom. However, I got training on it. You know who trained me on it? Somebody from school, like the occupational therapist trained us on it. And then when COVID hit, I uninstalled it off my computer, and I recorded myself installing it back on my computer, because at the time it was just a Google add-on, so parents could know how to add it on the computers at home, because because we used it so much in school. I wanted to make sure students still had the same support even though they were home. Here's how you can access this different tech that we use at school. Okay, so that is very helpful, you know. Now, again, you may get some resistance from some teachers with that, but when you also have the training to go along with the use of that tech, I want to say it's received more, because it's not like, okay, you're giving me this tech and you're expecting me to teach myself how to use it. When you have the training to go along with it, it helps. Okay, pair it with the workshops and the training, it helps a lot. It helps to reduce that resistance. Okay, we got two more. Another issue with the state of SPED teachers is collaboration and co-teaching. Now, some people might think like, oh my gosh, co-teaching is the best thing ever. It is. However, you need to be partnered with with the best person. Okay, so a challenge in co-teaching is all SPED teachers don't feel confident and adequate co-teaching with some gen ed teachers, because sometimes they're misaligned with other teachers. They're misaligned with who they are paired with as a co-teacher partner. Another issue is sometimes the battle between gen ed and a special education teacher. Sometimes that battle is real. It's like SPED versus gen ed. It's real, because you have some gen ed teachers who view SPED teachers as not being real teachers. One, because they don't see them. In their eyes, they don't see what they do. They don't see them. Oh, you only have a few students. You're not really teaching. You're not really doing da 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 da. So you have that mindset. And then you want a SPED teacher to come and teach with that person. They're not going to be very open, because when you are co-teaching, it has to be a we, not an I. This is our room. This is our classroom. This is how we will teach. And it's not that one teach, one assist. No. And that's what you see so much that goes on. So you have some SPED teachers who are resistant to co-teaching because of that, because of the disrespect that they get. And they feel like, oh, shoot, I can't do anything. Now, when students see that, they're like, oh, that teacher must be the assistant. So now the students start to treat the SPED teacher like they are an assistant and not the second teacher in the room. And it should not be that way at all. It should not be that way at all. So to fix this issue, you need to have collaborative planning time for those co-teaching partners, and really, really look at who you are putting together to co-teach. Really look at it. And then make sure they have collaborative preps, making sure they have common preps, so that way they can plan, so they can lesson plan together, so they can plan the assessments together and even practice their lessons together. Now, when Virginia did this, a school in Virginia did this, they saw an 80% improvement in their co-teaching classes. They saw 80% improvement in the student success in those classrooms. You can have PLCs, professional learner communities, dedicated to the collaboration for co-teaching, and that can help. You have to, like, I don't know why in teaching we model so much, but then when it comes to adults, we feel like they don't need it. No, adults need modeling too. Show them how it's done. Give them the support and training that they need. So if you're implementing co-teaching in your school, have a PD on co-teaching, on effective co-teaching models, best practice models, so they know what it looks like and they can practice what it looks like. Make sure you're really paying attention who you pair together, and give them the common time to plan together. I want to say every time I co-taught, I want to say I had majority, all of them were good except for maybe one experience where I felt like I was working with one of my students as an adult. Other than that, I had good co-teaching experience because it benefits the students. Who does not benefit from having two teachers in their room? And then as a teacher, what I wasn't strong in, my co-teacher was. What she wasn't strong in, I was. And that's how we broke up the lessons. And that's how we taught all lessons together. And we made decisions together. And when we communicated with parents and teachers, we always CC'd each other. You have to have that mutual respect before you even start. Okay? All right. Last point, equity and advocacy. Okay? Equity and advocacy. We don't really have that across this country. I want to say northern states tend to have better supports for special education for their teachers and their students, and southern states tend to not. Especially the rural districts. Okay? Rural districts may not be spending the same amount of money per SPED student the way they would in an urban school district. So like, for example, a rural district may spend $1,500 per student, whereas an urban district, they're going to spend $3,000. So it's not, there isn't equity across the country. There isn't equity when it comes to SPED services, because even though I'm in Pennsylvania, I'm in Philly, I could leave Philly, go to another district that's like 45 minutes away. Programming is completely different. Even though we're in the same state, the programming is completely different. Why is it I can write an IEP in Pennsylvania, but if I go to Atlanta, it's different. It's written differently. The system is different. It shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that way at all. And then advocating for our students, advocating for our teachers to get the funding that we need for our classrooms, that they need for their classrooms, that they need for the students. Again, up north, you tend to have more support than you would in southern states. Why is that? It should not be that way. We should have equity across the state. Across the country. Whatever services your students require, they should be receiving it. And it shouldn't be this disparity across our country. Okay? It should not. It shouldn't be a disparity. So if you're in a state where you don't have the support, you don't have support for yourself as a teacher, or your students don't, definitely get in these online groups. You can Google them. And you can create your own network of support and your own network of advocacy to support you in your role and to support your students. All right. So a quick recap of just the indicators that are causing are causing the issues with SPED teachers in 2025, because the focus of this live was solving the SPED teacher crisis in 2025. So addressing the special education teacher shortage. I talked about creating pipeline programs with your paraprofessionals or instructional assistants, because they work closely with SPED teachers, like what they're doing in Pennsylvania. They're sending them back to school, so that way they can sending them back to school to be SPED teachers to get their teacher certification, and then they have to teach at certain schools for like 3 years. And so basically they are creating a pipeline for SPED teachers. Also, if you create a mentoring program where you're paying your veteran teachers to mentor new teachers, when teachers get that support, they are more likely to stay in their role, and that can help to retain teachers. With the burnout and the overwork, is from the caseload, is the high caseloads and all of that. Get IEP management software that actually works for your school's population, and get your teachers training on that software that they're using. Also, offer mental health days for your staff. And hey, if your school don't offer mental health days, don't be afraid to take personal days. Take 2 days off back to back, so you can actually give your mind and your body the rest it needs, because it will take it from you. And you don't want to get sick and get health ailments because you are not. And I see everyone's questions. I see them all in the comments, and I'll come to them, because you don't want to get sick because you're not giving your body what it needs and taking care of your body. Okay. Professional development. I talk about this all the time. Outsource to consultants. You can utilize the IEP coach. We do professional development and coaching all centered around special education. You can have professional learning communities at your school. You can hire, again, consultants like us to come in and offer the PD and the coaching. Technology integration, giving your teachers the training on different tech programs that can help them in their roles and also help the students. I gave the example of Read and Write, which was a great program to use in schools. So definitely, if that's something that your school requires, get whatever tech that can support your school. Also have the training for your teachers for that, so they can learn how to use it. The same with the IEP systems. 5 was collaboration and co-teaching. Make sure you're paying attention who you are putting together to be co-teachers. Give them common planning time. Give them the supports that they need, because that's the only way it's going to be successful. If we don't like each other, it is not going to fly. We can check our emotions at the door as much as we can, but I'll tell you, students pick it up real quick if one teacher does not like the other teacher, or they can feel the tension. And the students will, when I tell you that when they pick that up, they're going to use it to their advantage. Oh, Miss So-and-so said I couldn't. Let me go over here and ask Mr. Brown. They will take advantage of that. So really be mindful of who you are putting in a classroom together, and give them the PDs on effective co-teaching models. Not that one teach, one assist that I see so much. No, stop doing that. And you can also have professional learning communities, PLCs, focused on co-teaching and collaboration. And then also in the last one, number 6, it was equity and advocacy. We don't have equity across this country. We don't. Northern states tend to have more support for their teachers and students, especially the special education programs. If you don't have that where you are, go online to these. There's so many different groups that can be a support, that can be your network for you to help you in your role and to help your students. Okay. All right. I'm going to open up questions. Let me go over here because I saw some questions. All right. So Alicia B, I have to pay for an advocate for my son's IEP. And yes, I understand. It can be a lot. It can be a lot. And you're sad. I'm in Maryland. I thought Maryland had a program, Alicia B, they had money for parents who needed advocates for their children. I swore they had I found that out over the summer. I swore they had money, like this money set aside for parents that needed advocates. I'm going to reach out. I'm going to touch base with one of my friends who's in Maryland, because she's the one that actually told me about it. And I can DM you. Let me write this. Let me write your name down. Alicia B, so I can remember to. Alicia B _. All right. This is really good information. Thank you. Thank you, Felicia Shakespeare. All right. Any questions? Everything you share is true. It is. It is. Any questions? But this is how we can solve our the special education crisis. This is how we can solve it. It's not rocket science. It is not rocket science. There are things that can be done to solve these issues. It's not rocket science. It's simple. Schools have to prioritize, administrators have to prioritize it enough to follow through. You got to prioritize it enough to follow through. Okay? Now, I'm just going to drop our links again. I'm going to drop our links one more time. So, subscribe to our newsletter on LinkedIn, the IEP Insider. We are so excited about that newsletter. I'm so excited about that newsletter. I love sharing just tips and everything for it. Hold up. Wait. I didn't mean to share that, guys. Sorry about that. So yes, let me do, and then also enrollment for our Speducators Rise Group Coaching Program, which is specifically for our special education teachers. Enrollment is open. This is our second cohort for this school year. So there it is. And I'm also on, let me drop the IEP Insider for IG. If you're on IG, please, you can click the link, but I'm also dropping, you can click the link in our bio, but I'm also dropping the link there. Alicia B _ eats. Oh, I would have been so wrong. Hold on, _eats. How many days before the IEP meeting do you have to turn in the parental concerns? How many days do you have before the IEP meeting to turn in parental concerns? Well, if this is an initial IEP, after the reevaluation gets complete, you're going to share that with the psychologist and then also with the teacher. So the psychologists have 60 days to do the report, and then the teacher has 30 days to do the IEP. If this is an annual IEP, you can turn it in any time before the IEP meeting. You can it's best to turn it in before the IEP meeting, but as long as you get it in before the IEP meeting, that's fine. There have been times where I couldn't get in contact with the parent due to their work schedule. Because I always like to call parents to get their input, but I also would send like an input form. See if your school has an input form for you to put your parental concerns on. Or you can email your concerns to the teacher, and then you can send it to the case manager and then CC the principal so they know that they actually got it. Oh, no, I called his healthcare insurance and they said they don't provide funds. It's not the healthcare, Alicia B. It wasn't the healthcare. I really, it's not insurance. It's I swear it was the Maryland Department of Education. I swear it was the state of Maryland. But I'll look into it some more and get some more information, and then I'll DM you, Alicia B _eats. Is it 5 days or 10 days? 5 days or 10 days. The earlier the better, Alicia, to tell you the truth, so that way the teacher has that in their report when they're writing the IEP. I like to have, when I'm writing IEPs, I like to have all my information right there readily available. So I got the teacher input, parent input, I got everything I need, and I can just start writing that IEP. Okay? Any other questions? You're welcome, Alicia B. Let me see if there's any questions. Let's see. Any questions? I don't see none on this side. Let me go back to IG to see if we got any questions. All right. If your questions come to you later on, feel free to DM us. It is fine. We are very responsive on our social media, so we will get back to you. Okay? Now, I want you to keep in mind, please engage with our content. If there is a topic you would love for us to cover, please join our email list. When you go to our website, join our email list so that way you can get our email that goes out when we're about to go live. Also, you can feel free to DM us a topic that you would love for us to focus on, and we will include it in our live calendar. Also, we have our Progressive Education Summit. It is this Saturday. So excited. It's in Baltimore. And the IEP coach, we are presenting on the power of two. So, how to efficiently utilize your paraprofessional or instructional assistants in your classroom. That is the topic of our presentation. So excited about that. I'm looking forward to everyone who will be in attendance. If you would like to come to that, it is absolutely free. It is in Baltimore though. I will drop the link. It is, if you are on Instagram, you can click the link in our bio, but I will drop the link right now for you guys. And so that way if you want to come, you can register to come to the summit. And they do this every year. So you have administrators there, parents, you got teachers, you have paraprofessionals there. So it's a great environment. So let me share the link here. Okay. Open an external browser. Okay, here we go. All right, I'm going to drop the link here on Instagram, and I'm also going to drop the link in the comments. Hold up, let me drop the link here. Register for free. This is the Progressive Education Summit. Oh, excuse me. Okay, copy. Okay. Where's the link? Copy. Oh, there we go. I'm about to say they don't want to copy no more. Okay, here we go. I'm dropping a link now. And let me drop it over here on Instagram. Remember, if you're on Instagram, you can click the link in our bio to register for the summit. Please subscribe to our LinkedIn newsletter, the IEP Insider, where we'll be giving actionable tips and strategies that you can apply, whether you are an administrator, whether you are a teacher. So please subscribe to that document. And remember to the newsletter, excuse me. And also the Speducators Rise Group Coaching Program. Enrollment is open. Enrollment is open, and open is open. Okay? It's specifically designed for special education teachers to help them thrive in their roles. Okay? All right. So if we don't have any more questions, we're going to go ahead and close out. Please remember, as always, please be kind to yourself. Please give yourselves grace. Remember what your capacity is. You're one person. You only can do what you are able to do. Okay? And be safe. And we will see you next Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Coaching Corner. Have a good night, everybody.